safely. So we're going to be doing another tag. I know, same face, same clothes, but it's just easier to film tags in bunches, I think. A couple of disclaimers just before we carry on. I'm aware that this room is very echoey at the moment. I'm in the process of redoing a little bit around this room, which is essentially going to be a library. I have books downstairs, and not quite enough to fill this whole room up yet, but I'm getting another bookcase in for here, and a chair. So for the minute, all my furniture's gone, which is why it's a bit echoey, and hopefully by the next time you see me, it will be a little bit more gathered. And now we're going to jump into the tag. So this is going to be the book adaptation wishlist tag. I was tagged by Jean from Jean's Bookishthoughts, whose channel will be linked down below for you. Just a warning, one of these questions is about musicals. I really don't do musicals, so I don't have a suggestion for that one, but I'll have two for one of the categories to make up for it for you. So the first one is a book to movie adaptation. And for this one, I've chosen The Arrival by Shaun Tan. And I read this one very recently and absolutely adored it. And I think this would be such a good film. I think this could be done as a really art housey film. So the graphic novel itself, I spoke about it a little bit before, is all done in these really sort of neutral tones, and there's no words throughout the entire thing. And I think that could be done so powerfully in film. I can sort of see it as a sort of half-hour long little black and white short, and I just would watch the hell out of that. So yeah, I think it'd be really interesting. That's my pick. And the next one is book to TV show. So for this one I chose The Silent History by Horowitz. This one essentially is told in really small snippets about these children who do not speak, they do not talk to anyone about their culture. And the reason I think this would do really well on TV is that there are quite a lot of characters and the pieces are quite short, and it would lend itself to sort of TV-esque cliffhangers. I also think it would just be really consumable. I could see this being something I'd want to binge watch. And because of the sort of setting, I feel like it would fit with the sort of TV budget too. So it's pretty much just everyday society. There's no like massive apocalypse, it's just a case of people not talking and that kind of being the apocalypse. And I think this would be brilliant on TV. I would totally watch this, and I could see it being a little bit like Lost in terms of how I binge watched it, and I compared it a little bit to Lost, I think, last time I spoke about it. Yeah, so this one. And the next one is a cartoon. The book I wanted to choose is not with me, so I'll just put a picture up for you here, and it's from a Buick by Stephen King. So I'd love to see Stephen King in a cartoon. Again, it's like a little bit like a really gritty, dark cartoon that really isn't for kids. And I love that idea. I think this particular book from a Buick would be brilliant because the central sort of character of the car, in the book particularly, is already sort of anthropomorphized, and I could see cartoon doing that really well, like having it sort of have little sneers and looking with its headlights and stuff, and other characters aren't looking. I could see it would work really well in a cartoon style, and I would just watch that, totally watch that. And the next one is a graphic novel or comic book adaptation. And for this one I've chosen Papillon by Henri Charriere. So I read this one a while ago. I read this one sort of 4 or 5 years ago, and because obviously I haven't spoken to you guys about it before. Essentially it's the story of a prison escape from one of the most high security prisons that ever existed, and it's just brilliant. It's really fast paced as a book, and there are lots of different twists and turns and sort of moments where you're sort of on the edge of your seat just waiting for stuff to happen. And I think as a graphic novel that could work quite well, having it sort of serialised by each section of this journey. I've also found that I really enjoy graphic novels that are a little bit more factually based than sort of the superhero stories and stuff, and I think this book would be brilliant. And then, as I say, I'm not going to do musicals, so I'm going to do 2 different plays instead. So the first play adaptation that I would like to see would be The Vegetarian by Han Kang. Kind of similar to The Arrival. I think this could be done in a really twisted way on stage. There are so many elements in here that would be brilliant. So you've already got the element, if you haven't read it, that there is this whole sort of thing about painting bodies and about making bodies look like other things and making bodies look like flowers and look like plants. And I think that could be gorgeous. Like I can just imagine sort of, you know, semi-naked or sort of bodysuited actors and actresses becoming part of the scenery as these plants and sort of engaging in that manner. I could just see this being done really beautifully, and I think because the language is so rich and the imagery is really rich, you could bring that to a stage with sort of very minimal lighting but really bright colours on the actors and actresses. yeah, I would watch The Vegetarian on stage. I would also really watch Girl at War on stage. This book is one of the ones that I sort of read and thought was okay, and I think it sort of stuck with me a little bit more than I imagined it would. But it's sort of picturing a young girl in the depths of war. But there's a really sort of human, childlike element to it as well. I think the Poptimist review, he spoke about the fact that the children use the sandbags and use the sort of elements of war as their playthings and what that sort of represents. And I think that could be really powerful on stage because of the way that you use props and that you interact on stage. I could see sort of having on one side of the stage, like in that kind of a scene, having maybe physical objects being thrown as bombs and having sort of explosions and light shows on that side, and maybe one falling over to these children and then playing with it. Like I can kind of see that working quite nicely. Yeah, and I think in terms of sort of personal exploration and these difference between the two, her at home and her at war, again, could be done really nicely and sort of maybe split stage. But yeah, I think this would be great. So would you watch or read any of my suggestions? Let me know down below. To be honest, I read so much that I think I rarely go out and engage in other kinds of sort of entertainment. So this may be complete rubbish. You may think, what on earth are you going on about? But in my head, at least, they'd be fun. Also, let me know, if you have any great ideas in the comment section down below, because I think this is a really interesting tag, and it just makes me want to go out and yell at people to make things. and yeah, I hope you're all well, and I hope that you are having a good week so far, and that you are looking forward to the second half of the week and the weekend ahead. I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye bye. I guess if you're going through a diagnosis and nothing really fits, it must be a bit like, oh, we don't know, I guess you're fine.